Welcome back. Now that we have a pro-crypto administration and regulators across the board, where is crypto going? And these are the cryptos that will create multimillionaires. In today's video, we're going to discuss which cryptos I believe, and specifically altcoins, which I believe will perform extremely well and potentially will create millionaires in this cycle. We are going to be talking about Ethereum. We're going to talk about Trump's World Liberty Finance. We're going to hear from the Chainlink founder. We're going to talk about the Digital Assets Summit and World Liberty Finance. We're going to talk about AI crypto coins, Solana, and most importantly for many of you, Cardano. We're going to be discussing all of this and kind of really understanding in this 2025 maybe even 2026 cycle, where the market stands, which cryptos will create multimillionaires, and what we can do to position ourselves appropriately so that we can get in, maybe not necessarily become a multimillionaire, but at least get gains on our investments, which is the point of investing, right? To gain. You don't want to lose in an investment. That would be poor investing. And so just remember, nothing I say on this channel is financial advice. These are just my opinions, strategies, and thesis on the market. And obviously I could be wrong, but I'd appreciate if you guys join the channel by becoming a subscriber. Hit the subscribe button, give the video a free thumbs up. And if you want to help support the channel, click the join button to learn more about channel membership, or you can also leave a super chat down below in the comments. But let's start right here. High throughput. Ethereum scaler Mega ETH debuts public testnet hitting 20,000 transactions per second in one day. Now, number one, we've been hearing about issues with many of the layer ones and legacy layer ones, which is very slow throughput. But we are now at this point in the cycle, guys. Time to pump the transactions up. Pretty much every single cycle, dating back to 2017, we heard this blockchain is going to do 1 billion transactions per second. This one is going to do 1 million transactions per second. This one's going to do 100,000 transactions per second. And most of these blockchains do in the double-digit transactions per second, which brings in layer twos. And one of the reasons I'm extremely bullish on layer two blockchains like Polygon, like many of those others that were specifically built to, enhance the throughput, lower the cost from the layer one by kind of rolling all those finalized transactions up to the main chain. So let's understand about Mega ETH. So the protocol reportedly can handle 20,000 transactions per second at both 10 millisecond block times. By comparison, Solana has a theoretical transactions per second of 65,000 and an average real throughput of about 1,500 transactions per second. Mega ETH has officially rolled out in the public testnet, a crucial step towards this closely watched and controversial Ethereum scaling solution. Their developers take an opinionated stance on scaling that runs counter to the roll-up centric roadmap that scales Ethereum layer 2s, what we were just talking about here. Instead, Mega ETH is looking to become a singular high throughput solution for the chain. Like traditional optimistic and ZK rollups, Mega ETH offloads transaction execution from the Ethereum base layer while relying on it for security. However, alternative data availability solutions like the eigenlayer and specialized sequencers are used to achieve parallel transaction processing. This project aims to scale eventually to 10,000 transactions per second. Now, whether that's going to happen, I don't know. And this kind of goes back to Ethereum, right? There is still building going on Ethereum. Ethereum is still the number 2 blockchain in the world. Ethereum still has the most users, transactions, volume, validators, projects built on it, interconnectivity. I mean, I can keep going on and on. Any other blockchain that says that they have more than Ethereum is lying. It's BS. Ethereum is the number 1. And so a lot of the FUD that we've been hearing, a lot of the uncertainty, the doubt about Ethereum, it's due to this situation that these other blockchains are competitors and they're trying to gain that market share from Ethereum. And so the other clue that Ethereum is one of the top cryptos of this cycle and one to keep an eye on and probably have in portfolios is World Liberty Finance. This is the Trump Organization crypto company or crypto organization. Now, we've been talking about World Liberty Finance pretty much since I've been back on the channel in 2025. And one of the things that I keep telling my viewers is, for me, this is a guide. It's not like of the Bible, but it's a guide to where the money is flowing, where the big money is moving into. Because at the end of the day, World Liberty Finance is, a Trump firm, and Trump and, his companies and the administration, they're going in this direction with digital assets that I think is going to be very positive for the long-term usage, expansion, and also monetization. Guys, the thing that I keep saying is, like, if right? If the president and his administration are going to be pushing forward crypto friendly rules and guidance and regulators and all of this, even if you don't think that crypto is better than the stock market, like, just from a valuation perspective, how can this ecosystem not get bigger? How can the valuations not go higher? Right? How can Ethereum not become a multi-trillion dollar asset like Bitcoin and Amazon and Apple and Microsoft and Nvidia? Like, why? There's more built on Ethereum than I would imagine Nvidia has integrated around the world with their AI technologies. And we're going to be talking about AI cryptos in just a few minutes here. But before we go to AI cryptos, I think that it's important that we understand what World Liberty Finance is looking at, what the president himself actually says, what Chainlink is saying. I mean, there's so much going on. So let's kind of look at this. So, by the way, in the last couple of months, World Liberty Finance has made a few sales here and there. They sold I think all of their Ethereum and all of their Aave at the beginning of February. They've been buying Move, Ondo, and it looks like they bought some Avalanche, about $2 million worth, and $2 million worth of MNT. That's the Mantle network. Again, we talked about that last year. It's definitely a newer type of crypto. But what you can see here is that they're mainly focusing on Ethereum based or Ethereum adjacent coins. And not only those, but also DeFi ecosystems and kind of I don't know what generation we're in for cryptos, probably generation 4 or 5. A lot of these are 4 or 5, 5th generation DeFi ecosystems like Ondo Finance, Athena. I remember last year we were seeing Arthur Hayes tweeting about Athena quite often. And granted, right now the World Liberty Finance portfolio is not heavily invested in everything, right? They're definitely in a lot of cash. They have $41 million in Ethereum, $17 million in Bitcoin, $14 million in Tether, $10 million in Tron. Now, this is a very interesting point because they seem to be very aligned with Tron and Justin Sun. How deeply involved or aligned, I'm not really sure, but they're invested in the Tron ecosystem. And we've heard Tron's founder, Justin Sun, talking positively about World Liberty Finance and Trump as well. But this also brings us into what is linking all of these ecosystems together. Well, Chainlink. Chainlink is the interoperability oracle superpower of the ecosystem of crypto. And like we're going to be talking about later in this video, there's still protocols that are not even connected into Chainlink. Like we're in 2025. We're not in 2020 where DeFi just began and we have to make promises that we're going to interoperate. We're like 5 years later and there's still ecosystems that have no connection into Chainlink at all. They have no interoperability to Ethereum at all. And you can see where the money is flowing. Ethereum and DeFi based protocols, at least within the World Liberty Finance and Trump Organization portfolio. Now we are going to play a video from Chainlink's founder. We actually have 2 videos, but before we do, I wanted to show you President Trump's full address at the Digital Assets Summit that just occurred in March of 2025. This is the first time we heard directly from the president, directly talking to the crypto community outside of the campaign, and since he's become president. And also, it's really important to understand like the level that this is, right? This, in my view, should be extremely bullish. Everybody should understand not only what we were just talking about, like theoretically what they're investing in and what's probably going to do well, but what the president is actually saying. So yeah, let's listen to the president at the Digital Asset Summit. We're going to watch this in full. I'm going to play it at 1.25 speed, so going to go a little bit faster. And don't forget to give this video a free thumbs up and also hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss a new video right here on the channel. Let's listen to the president.
At the Blockworks Digital Assets Summit It's an honor to speak with you about how the United States is going to dominate crypto and the next generation of financial technologies. And it's not going to be easy, but we're way ahead. Just 2 weeks ago, we hosted the first ever White House Digital Asset Summit, bringing together many of the world's top leaders in crypto for a conversation led by our White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, who's a fantastic and very brilliant guy. That same week, I signed an order creating the brand new strategic Bitcoin reserve and the U.S. digital asset stockpile, which will allow the federal government to maximize the value of its holdings instead of foolishly selling them for a fraction of their long-term value, which is exactly what Biden did. He got a fraction of their value. We're ending the last administration's regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Choke Point 2.0. Operation Choke Point went beyond regulation, and I mean far beyond. It was a form of lawfare through government weaponization. Frankly, it was a disgrace. But as of January 20th, 2025, all of that is over. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common-sense rules for stablecoins and market structure. With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history. It's so big, it's, I think, as big as you can get. Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security, and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the U.S. dollar, and many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep it. We only want to keep it at the top, always. I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country, and it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. And right here, it's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world. Thank you, good luck, God bless.
So you guys hear directly from the president himself, like where crypto's going, where he sees it, how big he sees it, right? One of the most revolutionary technologies that we're going to change the world, help, back the dollar with it. Guys, this is where the future of crypto is going, right? And even if, whatever happens in the next, administration, what they're doing is they're lamenting and cementing this ecosystem as, and kind of almost forcing people on both sides of the political spectrum to accept this. And we're starting to see more and more of that, right? There's less, Senator kind of Karens that are complaining about crypto, and pretty much all the ones that are complaining about crypto are extremely old, right? And listen, not everybody's going to approve of crypto or want crypto in the ecosystem of finance, but at the end of the day, there's still people who don't want people to make money. They want everybody to be on the same playing field when it comes to financial. And there's, in my view, there's no incentive for a society if everybody's making the same amount. There's no incentive to grow. Like, this is the idea behind removing the regulatory burdens from these industries, right? Think about Ripple. They spent $250 million on legal fees, right? How much of that was from XRP sales, right? They're just extracting value from the investors in the market. Coinbase, they spent probably $150 million on legal fees. How much of that money could have been put towards developing better technologies to make people, more money, make people's lives better, make people make their systems more secure? Like, that was just a waste of money. And so we're going to see changes here, and we're already seeing, right? I think that the only crypto, founder from the crypto firm was Sergey Nazarov, who is the founder of Chainlink. I think he was the only one at the White House Crypto Summit at the beginning of March, and he spoke directly to Trump himself. And by the way, remember, while right now they don't own any Chainlink in World Liberty Finance, they historically, I believe, have owned Chainlink in this portfolio. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't know why they would have Chainlink on the portfolio page if they never owned it. Let me see. Yeah, maybe they didn't ever own it. I don't know. Anyway, we'll have to do more research into that. But let's listen to what Sergey Nazarov said at the White House during the Digital Asset Summit at the beginning of March. This is going to play at regular speed, and we're going to be watching it in full. So make sure you guys are subscribed and give the video a thumbs up. Let's listen in.
I just want to express my deep gratitude for the seriousness with which you're approaching our industry and how you're actually helping guide it in the right direction. I work with many central banks in other countries, and when I was working there, I was wondering why I, as an American citizen, can't help the United States financial system reach this higher level that the world is on course towards generally.
This is
And so I'm very
Sergi.
grateful that finally there's been a new level of kind of common sense and adoption of these ideas. Me and the other people in this room do believe that the crypto, blockchain, Web3 infrastructure is the next iteration of the financial system. And I think that the U.S. should have its leadership position continue in that new financial system. And I'm very, very happy to see people like David Sachs, Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick taking this very seriously with their time, and very grateful to them too. So I'm just overjoyed to see this, and I think it is a big part of how the U.S. can continue its role in the global financial system. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I thought it was very important that we stay in the front of this one. This is a big one. And as you know, China is pushing forward and very strongly as usual. But we're way in the lead, as we are in AI and other things.
And by the way, I don't know how anybody can be like bearish when you see how many pro crypto people are here. You have Tom Emmer, who's a former congressperson, Kelly Loeffler, who's the former CEO of Bakkt and the wife of the New York Stock Exchange's owner, Howard Lutnick, the U.S. Commerce Secretary, who is, I don't know that you can get any more bullish than Lutnick. This Treasury Secretary, Bessent, who's pro-crypto, David Sachs, the AI crypto czar. You have Brian Armstrong from Coinbase there. You have Michael Saylor there. I mean, guys, how do people see that and say, well, I don't think that crypto is a good investment? It's unbelievable. And then so after the summit, Sergi was also on Bloomberg, where they kind of asked him, like, what was the vibe at the White House and the conversation. So I figured let's listen to this interview as well, so that you guys can get a little bit of a better understanding, because this is going to tie all into the title of the video, right? Cryptos will create multimillionaires. I mean, they've already created billionaires, right? Almost every founder of these crypto firms or actual cryptocurrency, they're all billionaires, all of them. And we're going to continue to see billionaires be created, maybe trillionaires, right? Remember, there's still a Dogecoin billionaire who owns massive, massive quantities of Dogecoin and continues to buy. We'll do a video on that in a separate, like a whole separate topic, but let's listen to what Sergi says here.
Sergey, take us into that summit. We took comments from the president and from David Sachs live, so we all know what they said. We actually heard from you, I believe, there making comments too. What happened, though, when the press was ushered out, when the cameras left?
I think there was a lot of positivity from the entire industry side of the summit. So they were very grateful for all the support from the Treasury Secretary, Commerce Secretary, the President, David Sachs, Bo Hines, all of these great folks, as well as the Congressman Tom Emmer and Brian Stahl, who was there. I think at the end of the day, it's commonly now more and more understood that our industry was unfairly persecuted in a way that depressed it and made it not everything it could be here in the United States. I think the general model of this administration is that if something has a global impact or impact on the U.S. economy, then they want to be in a leadership position. And so that means that from their point of view, crypto is a big driving force for the global economy and for the U.S. economy. That's what I think became even more clear after the cameras turned off. So I think this is a very high level of commitment, signified by the fact that you have both the Treasury Secretary there, the Secretary of Commerce, the President, and they basically explained their commitment to make sure that the industry is no longer unfairly depressed or persecuted and allowed to develop properly and allowed to make the U.S. a leader in the Web3 economy and the Web3 financial system, which I think the U.S. has a very good chance of doing if it does certain things correctly.
And so we're already seeing those things kind of taking shape, right? So which cryptos are we specifically talking about? Number one, as we talked about, Bitcoin, Ethereum, basically the top 10, top 50 coins are extremely important. Ethereum is, scaling to a different degree. Ethereum is it's literally its own ecosystem now of finance. And this ecosystem is connected to the others through Chainlink and many other Oracle providers like that. We also have talked extensively about Aave. Aave targets institutions just recently with a new real-world assets initiative called Horizon. And so Aave is a DeFi ecosystem, DeFi platform. We heard that the Trump World Liberty Finance was buying into Aave last year. Since they've sold, as I explained, they sold for a profit last month. There, in my view, nothing wrong with that. But I mean, they made $1.42 million in profit just on that Aave trade. And listen, a lot of people were getting excited when they heard that the Trump's World Liberty Finance was buying into Aave. And Aave is a top asset out here. Let's look at Aave right now, $183. Just last year, it was $80, right around here, right, for most of the year. It was $80, pumped all the way up to about $380, and then has come down about 50% since. But we know the trajectory. We know what they're building. And if we see World Liberty Finance add Aave again, in my view, that's an indicator, not financial advice. But we're also seeing actual development on Aave. Aave Labs rolled out a new initiative called Horizon, which aims to develop products that target institutional adoption of decentralized finance through real-world asset products, such as tokenized securities. According to Aave Labs, the goal is to bridge the gap between TradFi and DeFi, leveraging the Aave ecosystem as a foundation. Horizon's first product will be structured real-world asset solutions that allow institutions to use tokenized money market funds as collateral to access stablecoin liquidity. The firm expects to generate new revenue streams for the Aave DAO and strengthen the utility of this GHO, which is the primary liquidity source in DeFi. It said to unlock unprecedented liquidity and accelerate this transformation, Horizon on Aave will create products to bridge TradFi and DeFi with the GHO, the Aave stablecoin liquidity source, as the essential liquidity source in the Aave ecosystem as its foundation, according to the founder of Aave Labs. A key feature of Horizon Initiative is the support for permissioned real-world assets as collateral, which addresses institutional needs for compliance and risk management and accessing DeFi. Horizon comes in addition to past institutional-focused products from the team like Aave Arc and Aave Pro. Horizon goes beyond what earlier products offered, explaining that it integrates real-world assets directly into DeFi. So, do you think that they would just be starting this whole Horizon initiative if they didn't know that institutions and companies want to tokenize real-world assets? I mean, we've been hearing about this real-world asset narrative for a while now. I don't think it's going to catch on fully this cycle. I think there's going to be a lot of speculation this cycle, but this is real world implementation of this technology. We've seen it with tokenizing real estate, tokenizing bonds, tokenizing stocks. We've seen it already happening, but at a much larger level, where pretty much the New York Stock Exchange would be blockchain based. And they would be tokenizing everything, and you can just basically buy everything on chain. This is eventually where we're going, and Aave seems to be well set up for this, and also well positioned for this, even more growth, especially on dips. I mean, I definitely bought in the 80 range, sold in the $300 range, and definitely looking for another entry point. The market cap is a little bit higher for a lot of these underutilized DeFi ecosystems. But again, I think that this could be a repricing based on the bullishness of this administration and of the regulators. Because we have not really seen a repricing in many of the altcoins. I mean, just think about Ethereum. When I'm recording this video at the beginning of 2025, Ethereum still hasn't reached all-time record highs when many other altcoins and Bitcoin have, and have basically stayed there. Anyway, moving on to Cardano, because I get the question on this channel a lot. Is Cardano investable? Is it a good investment? Where is the scam? Cardano founder slams critics. This occurs regularly. I mean, any criticism, but basically Cardano founder was in a live stream, was talking about some stuff with like research that they were doing. And then pivoting to Cardano, Hoskinson delivered one of his most direct defenses of the project's legitimacy, progress, and technological achievements to date. Hoskinson dismissed persistent online narratives branding Cardano as a scam, pointing to a track record few blockchain projects can match. He said, quote, Cardano was started in Japan in 2015 off of about $70 million in funding. Cardano in 2025 is a $26 billion ecosystem and has delivered 240 papers to market, like research papers, millions of lines of code to market, and a massive protocol innovations. Now, all of this, what he's saying is correct. Number one, I did see when I was not recording on YouTube for a while that people were branding Cardano as a U.S. Invented coin, and it wasn't. It's not a U.S. based coin. I mean, even Charles said it was started in Japan, and even Charles's company was IOHK, Input Output Hong Kong. They rebranded to IO Global more recently because they are a global brand now, right? Anyway, Charles cited milestones including the first provably secure proof of stake protocol, the extended UTXO model, the Plutus smart contract language, and upcoming advancements like Midnight, a privacy focused partner chain. Now, this is true that they did create the first provably secure proof of stake blockchain. A lot of people forget that because most of the chains right now are proof of stake, but really, Cardano was the first one. They were the first that were able to get incentivized staking online, and I think it worked out fairly well. But everybody else copied them. And by the way, we're in 2025. We're not in 2020 anymore. So all of this stuff that Cardano has already done, that all the other blockchains have already advanced to, got it. But what is next, right? As I've explained in this cycle specifically, I am no longer in this cycle looking at what these projects can do or what they're capable of or what they will be capable of when this launches or when this launches or when this launches. Because at the end of the day, guys, according to CoinMarketCap, there are 13 million cryptocurrencies. Now, even if you say majority of these are nothing, right? Granted, but there's at least 200 blockchains that actually have real value and real technology built on it, right? Maybe more than 200, but about 200, definitely. And so there's so much competition. So for Cardano to say we were the first provably secure proof of stake blockchain, it's like nobody really cares. Like, what are you doing now? It's the same thing like Ethereum saying they were the second crypto. It's like, okay, is that the only reason that Ethereum should be the number 2 crypto because it's the number 2 crypto that was invented? Probably not. It needs technology and fundamentals and users and developers and businesses, everything built on it, which I think it does. Now, I would not say Cardano is a scam. I would say that they've missed deadlines. They've missed some of the goals that competitors achieved. Maybe it wasn't Cardano goals, but I would say blockchain ecosystem goals, right? That other ecosystems have achieved. There's still very little interoperability on Cardano. There's still little usage on Cardano, transaction throughput on Cardano. But I don't think that's going to matter from a price perspective, right? And the reason I'm talking about Cardano is because it's top 10. We've already talked about Tron. We've already talked about XRP. We've already talked about Ethereum, Bitcoin. We're going to talk about the others in the top 10 in just a few minutes here. But, for Cardano, it has been in the top 10. And Charles talks about that somewhere. Yeah, he says, Hoskinson claimed that Cardano remains one of the most secure and reliable blockchains in the industry. He said Cardano's been running for almost 8 years, 7 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Cardano has never had a major hack. Cardano's never gone down. Cardano runs, and it's decentralized as measured by the EDI. That's the Edinburgh Index. You may not agree with that, but according to them, that's what they're saying is the most decentralized. I wouldn't say it's the most decentralized, but it's somewhat decentralized. In contrast, Charles referenced the industry collapse after Luna, Celsius, FTX, BitConnect, asking rhetorically why Cardano is often labeled a scam despite its longevity and absence of failures. He said, where's the scam? The entire arc of time I just gave you, thousands of failed projects, we're still in the top 10. We're still here. We're still pushing forward. I don't understand your grievance. I really don't. And then Charles talks about Cardano derangement syndrome and all of that. Listen, at the end of the day, this has been going on. Charles gets hate, right? Vitalik gets hate. Sergey gets hate. Michael Saylor gets hate, right? They all get hate for whatever reasons. People are in other coins. They're in opposing investments, whatever the reason is. Here's the deal. Do I think that Cardano is a scam? No. Do I think that they've overpromised on a lot of things and under-delivered? I think so. Do I think that there's Cardano's done and it's not going to be in the top 20 or top 30 in the future? No, I think that Cardano is going to continue to maintain a top position. Some because of fundamentals and some just because of, some of the hype and the community engagement. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you look at the other chains outside of Cardano, around here, right? I mean, what has Avalanche really done, right? Granted, they do have some implementations, but it's not as widespread as they alluded to, many years ago. Stellar, same thing. I mean, I used to be a huge Stellar bull in the previous cycle, but they have underperformed substantially from an implementation standpoint, from a communication standpoint, from a marketing standpoint. And it doesn't mean that Stellar is not going higher in valuation, but for me, it's no longer investable because they have just kind of, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And listen, Stellar does have a lot of integrations around the world, but is it at the level that XRP is at or will be? I don't know. I think Stellar really dropped the ball during the last cycle because Stellar, in my view, had the opportunity to essentially capture all of Ripple and XRP's business line because people were not sure about XRP and they didn't do that, right? They did not do that. We've been hearing about Stellar's Blockchain World Wire. I think it's Blockchain World Wire from Stellar. Maybe that was XRP, but I think it was Stellar for years now. And like, what is the update on that? And so there's other ecosystems out here as well that have promised a lot and have under-delivered. Tron, we're going to do 1 million transactions per second is what they said back in 2018 and 2019. They're not there yet, right? Maybe they have faster throughput, but they're definitely not where they needed to be. Hedera, HBAR, a lot of, partnerships and announcements of integrations, but Hedera is not being utilized at the level Solana is, or Ethereum is, or for that matter, Bitcoin. And so again, I go back to, when we were talking about Cardano, it's not just Cardano, it's many of these top coins, but that doesn't mean they're not going to perform. Where Cardano is going to perform this cycle, I don't know. Is it investable? Is it going to create millionaires? There's no doubt in my mind Cardano has already created millionaires and it will probably create even more millionaires. But as time goes on, it's going to create less and less millionaires, right? You have to keep that in mind. All of these coins, right? Dogecoin, if you invested in it 10 years ago or whenever it was launched, yeah, you probably were a millionaire shortly thereafter, right? But again, every cycle after that, it's much harder to become because the wealth is more distributed, the percentage gains decrease, and so on and so forth. Tron, I don't know. I really don't even know what to say about Tron. Chainlink, listen, if Chainlink has the integrations and the partnerships and the interest that I think it has based on everything we talked about today, the president, the White House, Sergey talking directly to the president, and the executives in the administration understanding what Chainlink does and is, this could be huge, huge for Chainlink, like literally life-changing. But that's if we get these integrations and connections tied in directly into Chainlink. But will Chainlink create millionaires? Probably as well, yes. Stellar, not so sure about. Avalanche, I definitely think can create millionaires based on the technology they have and are growing. Hedera, there is definitely a community-based initiative there, but again, we're already at $7.7 billion. And when you look at some of the coins underneath Hedera, think about Sui, Litecoin, Polygon, Polkadot, I would imagine those have much more integrations and usage than Hedera. Obviously, we'd have to look at the actual charts on that. I'm just kind of giving you guys my opinion based on the top 20 right here. Shiba Inu, of course, these meme coins are going to create millionaires. Sui probably already created many, many millionaires because we've seen the price come from well under $1 to well over $2.20. Litecoin up in the air as well, and Polkadot, like I said, there's probably these coins probably already made a lot of millionaires because they've been around for a long time. But again, as time goes on, it becomes much harder to make those millionaires. And we're already starting to see this, right? Pump funds slowdown triggers a 97% collapse in Solana's network earnings. Now, we didn't talk about Solana earlier in the video because I was waiting till now because, as you guys know, in my view, Solana is built by and for the billionaires, highly overvalued. A lot of the excitement and anticipation and speculation that we've seen in Solana, it's all unwinding now because all Solana had, apparently, based on what we've seen, is the meme coins. And meme coin that period of time is over, right? At least for now. And Solana's network revenue and DEX volume have plummeted in recent months as hype around meme coins has faded. This downturn is largely tied to the slowdown of Pump Fun, a major meme coin launch pad. And so keep in mind, when you see this big move to the upside, there's a lot of people, and this happens in the market prices as well, right? When the prices start going higher, let's say Bitcoin gets to $150,000, there's going to be businesses and people who are taking and saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to be rich. We're going to be not. We are rich. We're going to be rich." They're already planning in the future at $150,000, and then they start expanding their business, buying Lambos and all of that, and then the price drops, and they didn't even sell any of their coin because they thought we were going to 500 or $1 million. But 150 or maybe 200,000 was the top. And so we're going to start to see that. And when you start to see that, you have to keep in mind, right? Pumped out fun. When we saw this chain revenue on Solana go this high to $55 million in a month, I'm sure a lot of these businesses said, "Oh yeah, this is the bull run. This is our time," and they started dumping money into buying coins, buying infrastructure, buying all this stuff, not realizing like these are meme coins. And meme coin bubbles pop very, very rapidly. And unfortunately, because all the meme coins were on Solana, all of the celebrity coins, all of the company coins, all of the coins for Argentina, all of this was launched on Solana. Why was it launched on Solana? I don't know. Maybe this was the only technology Solana had. Maybe the other ecosystems were not putting their money into this because they saw what happened with NFTs during the last cycle. But yeah, I mean, meme coins, it's unbelievable what we've seen occur in the meme coin ecosystem. And now all the money is draining out of the meme coin ecosystem, therefore draining out of Solana. And as it's draining out, it's causing liquidations. It's causing people to panic sell, and that causes more liquidations, more people to panic sell. And I don't think the hurt is necessarily over. I do think Solana is going to be performing over the long term because there's still a lot of big investment and big money pushing companies to build out the ecosystem on Solana. But I am not so sure about Solana. You may say, Cryptoviser, great. So we've been listening to this video for all this time. Which assets are you investing in? And by the way, don't forget to give this video a free thumbs up. Now, I've stopped kind of talking about specific like portfolio positions and weightings and stuff like that on this channel because I don't think that it's necessary, right? I think that if you understand my personal thesis and strategy on analyzing these assets, which is what this channel is about. It's about learning how to analyze, learning a different viewpoint. This is what I do on a regular basis. I think about, well, what if Solana is bullish? What if Solana is bearish? What if Solana is in the middle? And I try to take all those and validate them and see which theories I can validate the most. And then based on that information and research into, is it going to be bearish? Is it going to be bullish? Are we just going to sideways trade? I can make a determination whether I should be investing or not. I mean, personally, you guys know a lot of the coins from previous cycles, they're done. They're done in my portfolio because they can't perform to the level that the newer coins can perform or the higher volume, higher valued coins. And by the way, this changes on a regular basis because as you are an analyst analyzing what's going on in the market and researching, you're going to change your opinion, right? I used to be a big Litecoin bull. I'm not bearish on Litecoin. I'm just not as much of a bull on Litecoin as I was. Do I still own Litecoin? Yeah, but do I think it's going to perform as well as, for instance, Polygon? Absolutely not. Now, maybe Polygon's not going to perform either, but I do think that Polygon's going to perform better than what we were just talking about, Litecoin. I think Ondo is going to perform better than Litecoin from a percentage gain perspective. But you also have to understand, I'm not bearish Ethereum. In fact, I am bullish Ethereum, and I'm also I'm hedging the bullishness on the lower market cap coins with bullishness on the higher market cap coins. Because remember, Ethereum, I think, can double or triple in price, get to $6,000 fairly easily, right? But can it go 10x, right? Can we get to $20,000? Much more difficult. It still can happen, but it's going to be more difficult 10xing Ethereum than it will be to 10x, let's say, Polygon, right? To go from 20 cents to, where is Polygon here? Right here, 21 cents to $2.10. $2.10 will be the previous all-time record high for Polygon. Maybe I think it was $2.90, but around the all-time record high. So I think Polygon can 10x much easier than we can see Ethereum 10x. I think that we can see Internet Computer 10x. If Internet Computer 10x is its $58 price, and it would be a $27 billion market cap, which would put Internet Computer in line with Dogecoin, maybe even Cardano in terms of market cap. And I do think from a technological standpoint, especially with AI and AI implementations on ICP, Internet Computer, this is a huge potential. And we've discussed this on many of the videos. So if you haven't already seen my videos on Internet Computer or any of my other videos, I typically name them, is this coin right for me? Is ICP right for me? Is Bitcoin right for me? I would definitely recommend going and watching those videos because I detail in depth why I am more bullish on those coins than others. But again, by the time you're watching this video, things may have changed. That's why you have to constantly do your research and understand what's happening in the market that day and utilize kind of the thesis and strategy that we're laying out here on this channel to understand how to assess these coins and how to make the determination whether I invest in it or not, right? Just like right now, Cardano, for instance, it's, in my view, it's not a scam, but does that mean I'm investing in it? No, right? Solana has decreased in price and transaction revenue 97%. The price is down 50%. Is it investable? I think it's going to go up over the longer term, but is it investable right now? Not just yet, because I think that Solana is going to go under $100, potentially under $75. And that's where I want to enter the position for Solana. But again, maybe Solana's cycle is over as well. There's all these what ifs, could be's. We never know when the market's going to drop, where the market's going to go. That's why timing the market is incredibly dangerous for an investment thesis and strategy, because you could be wrong. And so understanding the fundamentals, this kind of lays everything out a little bit easier. And it's not going to necessarily make you a millionaire tomorrow or the next week or the next pump. But over the longer term, a lot of these long-term projects with a lot of potential integrations from a global financial market perspective have the potential to create many, many millionaires. And like they have already created, many more will be created. But if you're not invested, obviously, if you're not in the game, you can't win the game, right? And so that's kind of my viewpoint. Nothing I say is financial advice. Do your own research. Let me know what you guys think down below. Which coins are you counting on to become a millionaire? See you guys on the next video. Crypto on.